Hello, folks, and we are live. So, Soozi, sing along. Welcome, everyone.
Thanks, Michael.
I'm going to sing a song from Jason Mraz. The question is why? Why are we here? To say our hellos and goodbyes and then disappear. Know this beautiful life. What is it for? To learn how to master peace or master war. There's only one answer that matters. Even if your heart has been shattered. Whatever you want, whatever you are after, love is still the answer. Oh, love is still the answer. Oh, love, 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 love. Oh, love, love, love. We all make mistakes. No, we're not perfect yet. I don't think God made us all from an accident. And the question that sits on everyone's lips is why should we pick ourselves up and start over again? There's only one answer that matters. Even if your heart has been shattered. Whatever you want, whatever you are after, love is still the answer. Oh, love is still the answer. The question I'll ask at the end of my days is what did I give? What will I take? There's only one answer that matters. Even if your heart and your dreams have been shattered, whatever you want and whatever you are after, love is still the answer. Oh, love is still the answer. Oh, love, 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 love. Oh, love, 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 love. You know, love is still the answer. Yay. Thank you.
Thank you, Soozi. So good to hear you singing in all of these groups that we're in. And you're about to go sing on Sheila's group, is that right? Or Karen's group?
I'll be on Sheila's group, but I can stay here for half an hour.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, since we're starting with you, tell us about what you do.
Besides singing for 17 Zooms and Facebook and YouTube, I'm teaching now with Sperry Andrews. We're getting together. I'm moving to Hawaii, and we're teaching void-based conscious living. It's so excellent. I've been meditating for 54 years, but this is the next step. It's like going to be right before the Big Bang and all that, when they found the dark energy and they thought it was useless, and it's actually pure potential. So it's like hanging out in the void where there's all this potential, And then when you get back to third dimension, your life's fuller. It's got more going on. I know what I'm doing. I'm also playing with two of Sheila Seppi's groups on Mondays and Thursdays, and I'm playing for a bunch of experiencer groups, people that get on spaceships and stuff. So, yep, I'm in motion.
Great. And yeah, look, as disclosure's coming out now, rolling out well and truly, the stories from experiences is just going to become more and more important to validate all of this, and to also let those who haven't said anything yet, and many people just stay very quiet about it, to bring them out into the light. And, you know, the world is in for a big shock. Let's put it that way. So many people don't believe in UFOs, and let alone all the different kinds of races that we're getting to know. Thank you again, Soozi.
Thank you. Love you guys.
Karen, would you like to have a bit of a chat and tell us what you're doing?
Well, hi, everybody. Thanks for inviting me to come and talk. Many of you know me. I'm Karen Swain. I'm a teacher of deliberate creation, teaching people how to connect to their multidimensional selves and to expand their consciousness and expand their abilities to perceive on multiple levels. People call that psychic ability or intuitive ability. To me, I think it's like as normal. It's normal being this. People call it woo-woo. I call it just normal. And I have been holding groups, putting on events, and doing a podcast for over 25 years. Well, actually, the podcast for about 14 years, holding events with spiritual teachers for about 20 years, starting in my 30s with the Academy of Light, and teaching people how to tap into their multidimensional abilities and remember who they are as a soul being on planet Earth and what they're here to do. I call myself a teacher of teachers because many of the people, all of the people that are attracted to my work know that they're on the planet to make a difference at this time, and they want to understand who they are and how they can help people and help shift our consciousness in the human collective so that we feel more peaceful, more unified, and less stressed, and less available to tap into negative thoughts and be on the side of those people who want to control things and feel that sort of empathy with everybody, as we're seeing across the planet at the moment with the crises unfolding in the Middle East. I was talking about that yesterday on my YouTube channel, that war is a thought, isn't it? It's people being hypnotized to think that they're separate to another, that what the other person believes is wrong and what you believe is right, and therefore I need to get rid of you, kill you, whatever it is. I mean, it's just being hypnotized by the collective thought that says we are separate and you are wrong. So tapping into your multidimensional aspects makes you understand that all of us come from one source, no matter how we're delivering that, in what religion and what ideology and what dogma we're delivering that, we all come from that same source, and therefore we're all unified. So what you do to another, you do to yourself. And I think the world needs to wake up to that. So I honor you, Michael, for getting this project up and running and showcasing so many New World teachers and beautiful musicians like Soozi, who are all a part of the shift in human consciousness. And just talking about, like disclosure is happening on a massive scale. I was dancing in the kitchen the other day as I was listening to a podcast, because one of the people that is really making it known to the mainstream that not only are ET, Star Nation people visiting our planet in their spaceships or their UFOs or UAPs, as they've been called, but in fact that the government has known about it for, I don't know, ever, I suppose, but 70 years, and they've back-engineered stuff and they've got the alien bodies. I think that's the most surprising things for people that are waking up to this stuff. Because my brother, I've got a few brothers and all of them are into sci-fi. They're all into sci-fi. But I asked my older brother once quite a few years ago, do you believe in aliens? And he said, oh, yeah, I believe in aliens, of course. I just don't think that they're here on this planet. And he is a highly intellectual person with a great job. He works for all these companies, consulting and all these companies. He's really intelligent. And yet he's under this collective hypnosis that aliens are not a part of this world. And so this disclosure that's coming out that says not only are they a part of this world, we've got the bodies and we've been back engineering their technology. It's explosive to that sort of mind that's very scientific and doesn't go into any of the woo-woo thing. And I was dancing in the kitchen the other day because I put on a podcast with Ross Colter, who was a 60 Minutes reporter, who is the person that interviewed David Grush, who was the whistleblower who had brought out this information to Congress in the US, and 3 guys online talking about consciousness. So no longer is it just the conversation of the UAPs and the UFOs and the alien bodies and the tech. It's about consciousness. And so these 3 guys, what were their names? Ross Colter, investigative reporter Nick Cook, and Jay Anderson, who was the host on Unity Project. They were talking about consciousness and what does it mean? And I was just laughing and dancing because these are the sort of people in the mainstream media. Ross was a mainstream media journalist working for 60 Minutes who would put all that stuff down in the not too distant past. And now they're talking about it online and getting millions of views. So it's a very exciting time here on planet Earth, as all of us who are listening, all of you that are online and who are listening to this, have been having this conversation for many years about your consciousness and who we are and psychic ability. And now it's moving out of woo-woo and it's starting to be established in the mainstream collective consciousness. And no longer will we be seen as strange or woo-woo. People will come to us looking for our advice. You've been talking about this stuff for years. Now I want to know, because now there are people that I respect, scientists and journalists, and it's on the CNN and it's on the Fox News. Now I want to know what you know. So it's exciting times. And Michael is riding that wave with Beyond Being Human, putting on this show tonight for you all and asking you all to participate through his Patreon. And I just want to say blessings to you, Michael. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. And thank you for being part of Beyond Being Human as one of our flight crew. And you've just recently done an interview with Brian Ruhe.
Hello, I'm Brian Ruhe, the Dean of University Galacticus. This is a project I've been working on with Michael Ney and others over the past year. This includes a woman who channels an entity called Beetlejuice, who's given us some of our best ideas. So the project that we're being guided to create here on Earth has an existing analog university in higher dimensions, as well as in a real city-sized mothership dedicated to its purpose, orbiting around the Earth at this time. Our job is to create the University Galacticus Terra branch for students to become the advanced cadre of humans trained with several purposes. 1 is a cultural exchange project between people and ETs. 2, we should decouple fear from the ET-human relationship. Conflict resolution, piecework, negotiation, and communication skills, these are not naturally occurring features in the human species. So we need to dial down the tension and fear created around the idea of aliens. And 3, journalism is described as the 5th estate with a specific role of finding and exposing the truth for society. Through the University Galacticus curriculum and research programs, we would create the 6th estate comprised of humans trained in conflict resolution and cross-cultural diplomacy that would clearly be needed on a worldwide basis once publicly disclosed UFO contact is made. We need to create a cadre of people who are in the correct mindset of non-confrontation, de-escalation, problem-solving, sharing ideas, and acceptance. And 4, University Galacticus would have different campuses and work with different universities and groups like Beyond Being Human. University Galacticus is an umbrella organization for different curricula, not a top-down institution. So we ask experts in a variety of fields of ET-related studies to help us define the mission statement, curriculum, and programs for University Galacticus. The Human Board of Directors, who are each already thought leaders with their own research programs, help define the mission and the priorities for the university. And 5, for the course curriculum, we've already started developing different studies and courses in various departments such as peace studies, comparative cultural studies, based on a firm foundation of personal and collective conscious evolution. As our higher dimensional advisory board has suggested, 80% of our courses would be free and 20% would generate funding to support the university through tuition for advanced studies in particular topics and individual study programs. So we hope that thought leaders will join us and help us to create the most appropriate mix of courses and individual study. So more detail about the Cultural Exchange Project is to create videos like reality TV based upon the reality that there are in fact city-sized mothership UFOs above the atmosphere, resembling the look of this image right over here beside me. So we envision establishing a group of contact experts who will create a cultural exchange project that guides people in real time via telepathic communication and channeling. This would include non-physical visits to the University Galactica spacecraft to meet with ETs. The individual would need some ability in meditation, remote viewing, concentration, or psychic abilities to progress with this. So we would guide them into different areas of the ship as described by experiencers to meet various ETs such as the Greys and Mantids. So these craft and underwater bases and ETs are real. This is but one of the programs of University Galacticus. So this fosters communication and a boots on the ground relationship with ETs to further a joint work of raising awareness about the ET agenda for human advancement. The Culture Exchange Project involves bringing people onto the craft as cultural ambassadors, not at a governmental level, but at a private citizen of Earth level. Just as the Greys can project themselves into the human world as humans, we can project ourselves onto their craft in their ET form. This is high-level practice. The perspective is that we can all work together, ETs and humans. We need people with a skill, desire, and mindset to create positive interaction with the beings around us. There are allies we can find and work with. So if you have done work relating to this or have the mindset and the heart set for it, you could join our efforts and get involved with us to help in our vision for University Galacticus. As Dean, I put people together as a talent scout who finds teachers and students. So that's the concept. We've established a system of using channel encounters with meetings between channelers and seekers, students, that create an authentic real-time experience for the student to be in and feel the reality of interacting with non-human sentient beings. We also open up connections for the student to have ongoing internal telepathic communication with the beings they choose to interact with. Furthermore, channels like Betelgeuse serve as ongoing conduits to meeting and working with various entities who choose to step forward to promote the work of this University Galacticus mission. Thank you.
Simon, come.
It's an honor to be here amongst so many honored light workers and spiritual workers. I am based out of Manhattan, New York City. I am a professional holistic energy healer. My primary healing modality is that of vortex healing, Reiki master, intuitive counselor. But vortex healing is my primary modality, mostly because of how truly powerful it is. It is a energy healing modality, but it is also a very powerful magical lineage coming from the lineage of Merlin. And when I say Merlin, I don't necessarily mean the King Arthur Merlin. Merlin is like an official title, like guru or master. So it is a lineage of magic. And so it creates very powerful, not only very powerful healing, but also very powerful magical transformation. In the healing sessions, it not only releases emotional blocks, but it actually transforms the core negative conditioning that creates a negative reality. It just goes in, and with its divine consciousness, it goes in and awakes and transforms the very consciousness of your reality, and transforms it not only inwardly but also outwardly. It creates very powerful healing acceleration, very powerful karmic healing. It is truly an honor to be a part of this lineage, because you begin to see how powerful it is for not just individual healings, for people to have personal transformation, but when other vortex healers get together, we are able to channel our divine healing magic to create very powerful shifts in consciousness within the planet, coming soon, their vortex healers will get together on Zoom to channel their magic into the consciousness of the planet to bring healing to a karmic level of violence, which of course is very needed right now. Rick Wyman, the founder, is always on top of not just being a teacher for us healers, but also he is very aware and sensitive to the planetary shifts that are going on this planet. So soon we'll be doing this very powerful earth shift. Hopefully those who have the psychic side will hopefully feel that shift as we do it. There's just so many shifts going on. Maybe we don't. Okay, maybe it's hard to juggle them. But this is what a vortex healing is so powerful, because there are many high levels of certification. I being on the highest level, and on that high level, I can not only bring healing on a very powerful individual level, but even individually, I can tap in to a greater planetary conscious to bring healing also individually as well. And it's not only just a healing and magical lineage, it's also a very powerful awakening lineage, because you naturally wake up. The divine consciousness that opens up inside your system creates this beautiful natural awakening in your system. And that is also incredible. So the more you take these classes, the more you begin to see that you become part of a greater purpose to bring light to this planet. And if you'd like to say anything else, I'd be more than happy to.
Well, we might come back to you a little bit later. Let's hop over to Zen.
All righty then. Namaste and in Lak'ech, my brothers and sisters of the cosmic order. It's wonderful to be here, and quite a long journey that we've had to do so. And Michael, thank you for all the phenomenal work you've been doing. And it's just wonderful calling you friend, and having had a wonderful relationship for probably almost a decade, I think, isn't it? So those kinds of things are wonderful, and meeting new people. Kat, good to see you. So as far as what I do, I've been through multiple cycles of professional hats as well as metaphysical ones. Being a contactee since I was a kid, orphan and adopted, so I had a little different questions going in than growing up with. And rather than belabor that, ZenBenefiel.com has it's kind of a curriculum or a digital vitae. However, most recently, coming out of COVID, my wife had been watching before we became a couple. She was watching a bunch of the TV shows I did back from the early 90s, which was called One World. And I interviewed a lot of people on their inner and outer experiences, including UFO contactees, and one guy that was even a hybrid. So it was kind of cool to be able to start there and be a wave starter, I suppose. And then in 2021, she came to me and said, you really need to start talking to people again. And it seemed like a perfect opportunity to raise the question about how we contact the inner awareness that we have, what it's like, what we go through, what we find out, how we can share that. And from all kinds of different professional levels with people all over the world. The podcast is actually called One World in a New World. So there's this in-depth exploration of inner awareness and how it's applied outwardly. And, it's interesting how only those who fear will fail when it comes to finding your way. So out of that, I met a gentleman who had founded a global peace movement called Live and Let Live, which basically has two principles, the moral and a legal. The moral is being an excellent human, which allows us to unpack the notion of consciousness and how we think, how we act, how that's congruent, how it's incongruent, and how we can learn to work together better in order to achieve global peace. And also the legal principle, which is don't aggress, our long-term goal. I say I kind of slipped there, setting it up. So the long-term goal is to actually change the law to remove all aggression from individual to government, which we can do as people with power. And so a couple of months after the interview that I had with the founder, I became a co-executive director and am now director of operations for Live and Let Live Global Peace Movement Foundation. So that is part of the fulfillment of helping to facilitate harmony among people and planet in this time of transition. My background in ufology has spanned my lifetime, multiple ways of contact. And for about a decade, I was curator for Ufology Press, which was a robust resource of blogs and videos and lectures and things like that from people all over the globe.
Cool. Wow. Pass over to Tanys, who's one of our newest pilots. And you and Marty might like to have a chat, Tanys.
We can do that. Let me just switch my view. So, Marty, maybe you can tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Hello, everybody. First, I would like to say that I am just absolutely thrilled to be here with all of you. It's a wonderful group, and I am so proud to be a part of this group. I just don't have words to express that sufficiently. It's so nice to be in a group of people who I know feel the same way I do about so many things concerning earth and spirit and all of this. I have been a lifelong experiencer, I guess they're calling it nowadays, of both the star nations and the angelic realm, as well as on some occasions the dark side. I've experienced all of it, and I knew as I was growing up that I lived in a different world than most people did. So I just pretty much kept it all to myself. A few years ago, I got and ended up in the hospital for over a month. I realized that I needed to write that book that they had been telling me to write for so many years. And so I did that, and I am the author of It Doesn't Have to Be This Way, a Spirit Alliance. That is out there, and I have, over the years, over the decades, since the divine intervention that saved my life about 2.5 decades ago, I have been studying many healing modalities. I am an Ayurvedic practitioner. I'm a Holy Fire 3 Karuna, Reiki online and in-person master. I was a level 5 facilitator of the Melchizedek method, which is a Merkaba activation and multidimensional healing technique. So I've just done a lot of healing work, both to help myself and to help others. So that's what I do now is I teach classes, do appointments for people, and I am just now getting into making the videos and doing some of the things that a lot of you have a lot more experience than I do. So yeah, it's just been an absolute thrill to be a part of this. And I look forward to getting a chance to know all of you in the future. So
I'll say it's been a great pleasure to meet you and work with you, and we're getting your website rolled out, and soon the ebook version of your book is going to be released via the website. And I'll pass you back to Tanys.
So tell us a little bit about your book, Marty. What is it in sections? Because you mentioned a lot of different experiences.
what I wanted to do was start out the first few chapters giving people enough of my personal experiences so they could understand where I'm coming from, so that they could get a little bit of an understanding of who I am, what I've experienced, and why I believe what I believe. Because everything I share in the book comes from firsthand experience. As I was writing the book, I also wanted to provide people with very practical techniques that they could use themselves to not only learn how to work with energy, but also how to make their connection with their angels and their guides and everybody else, whether it's the star nations or whomever they want to. Because what Spirit Alliance is really all about, and this is what the book is finally leading to, is I truly believe that Spirit doesn't want us on our knees anymore, just begging for help. We volunteered to come in and be the boots on the ground and they have the viewpoint that we can never have while we're in these physical lives. And as we look around, we can see that without their help, we're not doing too good. But I truly believe that if each individual person makes their own connection with the divine in their own way, we're not dictating how you do it. There's 8 billion people on the planet. They each have their own way to do it. But everybody that is willing to take this spiritual leap forward and make that personal connection, that true relationship with their angels and the divine, when we do that, your life becomes magical. And when we do make that connection, we literally can change this world and accomplish what all of us are trying to do. But we need everybody that's waking up to actually start making that relationship very real in their lives, so that spirit can help guide them. And when spirit starts guiding millions of people, can you imagine the synchronicities and the cooperations and the collaborations that can take place with their viewpoint? I mean, to me, that is exciting. That is something that I really get excited about. And so that's where Spirit Alliance came from. That was what they told me they wanted us to do. And so that's been my mission, and that's what it's all about.
So I understand you'll be doing a show called Spirit Alliance. So will it follow that kind of vein then as well?
I want to do a lot of interviews, because I truly think that one of the strength that we have is in sharing our ideas. It's not just about my ideas. It's about everybody else's ideas. It's about getting everybody to start talking and have that dialogue. And so I'm really looking forward to having majority of interview based, so that we can hit a lot of topics and a lot of things. Because I've had a lot of experience in almost all of the topics that's listed on Beyond Being Human. But that doesn't mean that I want to hear myself talk all the time. I want to hear what other people have to say. I am getting excited about that and looking forward to it.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we're so happy that you've joined us. So thank you.
All right.
Stone Hobbit, maybe you can tell us a little bit about you. And I understand you have a show coming up as well.
Kia ora, everybody, and how awesome it is to be here. How fantastic. Your faces are all glowing. This is an uplift of frequency. Yes, I am Stone Hobbit. I am from New Zealand. Everybody that's spoken already, I can relate to. I know a lot of faces that are here. We've done interviews, and now we're at a stage where we are now the guides, and we're going to uplift, and we hold a truth frequency. We're here to share what we have experienced within ourselves, the good, the bad, the ugly. We don't always connect with each other, but then we go into ourselves and we go, okay, what did I get from that experience? How can I grow from what I just went through? This is where we're at. We're in the knowing now that there is more that we can do to participate, to up our frequency, to heal ourselves, heal thyself, and to heal others. I'm a long-term contactee from Bergh. Spoken with Marty a few times. We've done similar work. For those who know me, I'm boots on the ground. I keep it real. I question. So I take away the layer of rubbish that you've been carrying for years. We don't need to talk to that anymore. We get to know who we are on the inside, what we've been protecting this whole time through. There is so much more to who we are and the experiences that we've had, the contacts. You might say that you've never been in contact with any kind of dimensional being, but I'm here, as some of the other crew here, to let you know that you've been in communication the whole time through. Now you step into your awareness of acknowledgement and gratitude and appreciation for being here in this now. And it is a ride. myself, I come from the darker side, being able to recognize the situations that I was in and take everything I possibly could from the experiences that I went through so others don't have to go through that. The experiences don't have to be swept under the carpet anymore, because we all know if it's under there long enough, we're going to trip over it, right? So clear it out at the start, so we don't have to carry the karma, so we don't have to keep repeating these processes and these programs. By us coming together and communicating about our experiences, and these are experiences that we don't need to embellish on, we don't need to exaggerate, we don't need to make up any kind of ruddy. That's rubbish. And we are in the now of that knowing. So when you're speaking straight to who you are, what makes you who you are. And we communicate with all our environment. In the city, you've got things to deal with. You've got higher frequencies. To those that are out in the rural, picking up the frequencies and holding onto it so that everybody gets a ripple effect. I will be one of the guides. I'm happily accepted the position of being one of the pilots on Beyond Being Human. Thank you very much, Michael, for inviting me here. And there is another platform that he is setting up. We played in it yesterday. It's on Sunken Blimp. It's fantastic. I'm not one for this futuristic technologies, because when you get into all the different levels of subjects, from paranormal to multidimensionals, I'm a multidimensional healer. That is the first thing I do. I make you look at who you are, the truth of who you are, so you can go from there. So you can transmute all those energies that were around you that you created in the early days into positive, usable energy for you in the now knowing. You can't change what you're not aware of. But once you become aware of it, you become accountable for all actions, thoughts. Remember, the mind and the physical are connected by you. So it doesn't know, your body doesn't know when you're having a thought, you're out there already doing the action. You've already thought about the process that you've got to go through. There are so many levels that we're going to share by you coming along to Beyond Being Human. Question everything. Don't be afraid to ask, because we are here to break the programming. We have broken the programming. We can see what's actually going on, and we're not going to tolerate it anymore. So step up, put your boots on. We're here to do some hard work. Ready for the ride? Because I am. So thank you again, everybody, and I look forward to conversing with you and seeing where we can go from this. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Tanys.
That's awesome, Stone. Thank you. You are doing a show called Hearthfire.
Hearthfire was, I was sharing different areas that I've come from. Every house, every home, every environment I've ever been in, I've encountered one entity or another. And through the ages of constant communication with them, I can't escape it. I can't escape it. I'm a communicator, and I communicate with different types of beings. And once we step into a certain frequency, these beings show themselves. So I am like what you would call a translator. So, you're having an experience. I'm going to guide you through that experience. This is some of our shamanistic rituals and all of this. We look at so many different areas. I work with biochemistry. I started off in psychology and caregiving for different levels of mental capacity, the labels. Eventually, the labels got removed to frequency. And being able to recognize and identify the frequencies that are there and coming in, we can communicate better. It only takes you 5 minutes to switch yourself around into a higher level being that we all truly are. I guide and coach through those processes. We get rid of baggage because we don't need to carry it anymore. That's what I guide in Hearthfire. I picked Hearthfire generally because it's a spell casting. Spell casting is when we can identify phonics and break it down. The meanings behind each letter equaling a frequency. I'm bringing the hearth fire. We are sitting around the hearth fire. We are releasing what we don't need to take with us any longer. And once a week, I also hold a Zoom room. It's open to anybody who wants to come along and share.
And this would be the new platform.
God.
So, as you can see, we're in there, and Cat Divine, who's sitting beside me, I'm standing in there. You can see my name. If you want to come onto this platform, send me an email, beyondbeinghuman@gmail.com, and I'll try and get the link to you as soon as possible. It's a bit of a setup and it takes a few minutes, but basically it's fairly easy. And once you're in, you just make your way to the stage, and here's what you're going to be seeing.
We use this platform for the events for the Alliance for Extraterrestrial Diplomatic Contact. It was a lot of fun to kind of play with, and working with Camilla was great.
Yeah. Cat, what Stone just did is use the reaction, and you can choose different dance moves. Hey, oh, there we go. Yeah.
Nice moves.
I think we're going to have a Beyond Being Human dance party. We can dance with ETs now. Isn't that cool? Anyway, thanks, Kat. That's really great to see.
So, hello. My name is Camilo. I'm part of the Sunken Blim team. We are a design studio based in Miami, and we create virtual experiences for virtual reality and augmented reality. We created what is called Sunken Blim Stage. It's a virtual space that was designed for virtual talks and scenarios. So if you can see me, I'm going to show you the complete space right now. This is the space, and in here we have hosted more than 60 presentations and short talks, artificial intelligence. We have talked about design, and of course we have talked about disclosure. The Sunken Blim Stage was designed to be an open space for everyone who wants to share and build communities. So you can just bring your ideas to us and kind of like pitch us, hey, I want to do this meeting. I want to talk about the energy healing or anything else, actually. We are really open with the topics. This is like an open stage. So knowledge can be shared between anyone who wants it. Let me give you a short tour. It's not a really big space. Hi, Tanys. I see you're in this Zoom meeting. Tanys was actually one of our earliest presentations on stage with the it's embassy for ET, and we actually created all of these assets. We modeled the ETs and actually created the stage for the talk. And
it was a fun project, creating the aliens together.
Yeah, it's been really, really, really fun. So we have had this ETs here. This is the main stage, and here you can come to talk and share your projects. We have also had musicians come here and share their projects. We're actually a design studio, a business, but Sunken Blim Stage is actually an open platform. So just come and say hello, and let's see what we can do. We have the space open for you, and welcome anytime. If you write to Michael, he can share the actual link with you, the link for the stage. The stage is always open. You can also get in virtual reality if you like that. If you own a headset, you can also enter this space in virtual reality if you want to. And yeah, thank you, Michael, for inviting me here to speak. And yeah, hello and bye.
Yeah, wow. And thank you. I mean, it's really great to have a space like this, because we used to have the Making Contact campus that Mark Sims actually set up, and Captain Ron and Jordan Peace were working with, and Cate, our moderator in the backstage area, part of our ground crew, she was involved with all of that as well. And that was a much more expansive kind of thing, like a virtual university. And I noticed you've got that drawing behind you. Do you want to tell that little story briefly?
Sure, yeah. Behind me are the Ponti, who I work directly with and have been since 2016. Their Zeta is from the planet Pontel, which is the fifth planet orbiting Zeta Reticuli 2. Behind me is Commander Tilcum, and he's been here on Earth since about at least the year 2000. Above him is Drudy. She's public relations, but they reside in an information station under the Sandia Mountains in Albuquerque, New Mexico, which is about 2 miles underground. This has nothing to do with the military base. This is part of a facility that used to be a human colonization that was last used about 50,000 years ago. So they repurposed this underground city, and they use about 10% of the facilities. But their telepath is Sue Walker, and she's in Albuquerque, Mexico, and she's a good friend of mine. And I visit them on a regular basis. But I've been working with the Ponti since 2016. They visit here on a regular basis. They're here weekly. They're friends of mine, and they're pranksters. They're fun. And they've taught me a lot of stuff, and the stuff that I've incorporated into my music. I am Pyramids on Mars, which I think Michael played one of my videos. That's who I am. And the Ponti have incorporated I've learned a lot of things from the Ponti that I've incorporated in my music, such as telepathic storytelling, communicating music at a telepathic level, and tonal language, which was taught to me by Tanys, which is also in relation to the whales and the cetaceans, who speak a sophisticated tonal language. But the Ponti have been very instrumental in a lot of the elements of my music, even to the point of one of the Ponti retuned one of my guitars to a different frequency and a different altered tuning. And I didn't know what had happened to my guitar until after I checked the frequency. And normally I tune to 432 hertz. However, they retuned my guitar to 528 hertz. So my last album, Cosmic Angels, half of the album was recorded in 528 in a baritone setting that was done by the Ponti. So it's actually an alien guitar tuning. The frequency, normally my guitar is tuned to a 432 hertz, which is natural tuning, which follows the Fibonacci code and the golden ratio. But 528 hertz is also it's a DNA healing frequency, and the Ponti, I think they have I guess they wanted me to experiment with that. So, but there's a lot I can talk forever about my experiences with the Ponti, but I think it's better if people ask questions. Oh yes, I'm also the host of Pyramids on Mars UFO Radio on the Artist First Network. So I have my own radio show, which has been on the air since 2016. And I think we've done about 70 episodes so far. And that's a worldwide audience. And that's how we get a lot of the information out there. I interview experiencers and hybrids and researchers, but mostly experiencers are who are on my show. Stone Hobbit, she was on my show not too long ago, actually. Sure, this song is called On Dragon's Wings, and it's on my latest album, Cosmic Angels. So, and you can find that pretty much at any digital platform. You can buy it there, but Bandcamp is where you can buy my albums, or just go to my website, pyramidsonmars.com, and all the links are there. But this song, all my music is instrumental, by the way. So the guitar does the talking. And the song is about if you could have your own dragon. So yeah, check it out.
Thank you, Kevin. And let me pass over to Deb Frueh.
I want to say thank you for inviting me. Michael and I have been trying to connect forever. We just don't seem to have the right moment. And then he sent me the link for tonight, and I thought, heck, I'm going to come and see what's going on. So I'm really pleased to meet all of you lovely people and you, Michael. I'm really enjoying what everybody's saying. And so I guess I'd like to put in my little story. When I was a kid, my mother used to tell me that I was psychic, and I didn't know what that meant. I just always knew who was on the phone when they called. And when you're a kid, you think everyone's like you. And so you never think about it. And it wasn't until I was married, had 4 children, and got divorced that the communication, like Marty was talking about, started happening. And I was being pushed in directions. I was divorced in 1986. There was no internet. There were bookstores, but no Amazon, no anything like that. I knew I had to go buy a tarot deck. I'd never seen a tarot card, never had them read. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. But long story short, I found one finally and bought it, and that was 37 years ago. And I've been reading ever since. But approximately 10 years ago, almost 11 years ago now, I got bored and I was looking for something else to do. And so I started something that is now called the Worldwide Metaphysical Tribe. And what we do is we meet once a year outside of Chicago. We're about 2 hours west of Chicago in Northern Illinois. And I fly in speakers and I bring experiences and teachers who are going to teach you a skill you're going to be able to take home. Not so much, I like to mix head information with literally learning something that you can then go home and, try for yourself and see how that goes. Like Stone said, on October 10th, I woke up to a war and I said, okay, I don't usually have a theme for this event that I do, but this year we're done navel gazing and we're done getting another certification. It's time to do what you came here to do. And to that end, I have a lot of different teachers all teaching at once. So I have a couple of days dedicated just to checking out all the things that you can learn. We had to change venues. Our venue, I found out last year, was closing. We had been there for 6 years. And I was ready to close the business because I thought, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. There's nothing else that I'm really interested in. Then I found a venue in Michigan, 3 states away. And I really didn't want to commit myself to driving all that way every time I forgot the something or other that I had to have on stage that night. So I was happy with the property, but I said no. And I looked up in the sky and I said, I want that property, but I want it in my town. And about 2 weeks later, a friend came up to me and said, here's your new place. And sure enough, it was nearly identical. It's a campground with a 10,000 square foot lodge and 43 acres and Native American burial grounds. And so now I'm working with a tribe to come out and honor the ancestors as our opening ceremony so that we can have this experience together and have the blessing of the ancestors. So I'm thrilled about this. All the neighbors who live around this property are thrilled about it too. They're all going to come. This year, I thought it was going to be the end of everything, and it turned out to be a completely different experience. I have to rethink it from end to end. But I did make a tiny little video. It's 1.5 minutes just to show off the property because Michael had asked me, he said, if you can't come, make a video. And I couldn't do it. I just couldn't get to it because I had to get this other one made. It was a lot of fun to do. Was that a yes on there? Okay. So there it is, our new location. We used to be on a corner lot, and now we're on 43 acres of gorgeousness. When I looked up in the sky and said, I want this in my town, I live in a little unincorporated area, tiny little area called Lost Nation, and it's in Lost Nation. And nobody knows about it. It's just like a brand new thing, and it's been there since 1937, but nobody knew about it. So I just felt like you said, Marty, you know, like we're getting that communication, and it's, if you listen and if you tune into it, amazing things happen. But I want to bring up something that is special to me because it's sort of getting to what is important to me this year with, as we said, boots on the ground and doing what you're here to do. I was watching a video the other day of a big wave surfer. Has anybody ever seen a big wave surf video? I mean, these waves are 100 feet tall, and the surfer gets towed up there by a jet ski, and then they're let go. And the surfer is dwarfed, and this huge tsunami is coming at them, and their job is to get to the end of the run without being killed, pretty much. And I thought about the surfer and what is going through his mind. If he thinks too much about, holy cow, this is great, I'm doing it, this is amazing, he's going to lose his edge and he's going to fall in. And if he is too concentrating on keeping his feet right and his balance and his proportion and not freaking out and all that stuff, he's going to miss the experience. And that's where we're at now. We're right on that edge. What happens next? That's what I want to know. And so the people who come to my event, I tend to scare the crap out of them because I bring speakers in who talk about things that they're not ready for. And my goal is to open up their minds. And last year was the year that I think 24 people came to me and said, this event changed my life. And that's my goal. So it's just 4 days of amazingness, I have to say. And I set it up so I can have fun too and enjoy it and meet people and so forth. But we did have Grant Cameron back in 2021. He came out the year after COVID to sort of reinvigorate what had been locked down for a year. And he was wonderful. He was fantastic. And a lot of people turned out to see him. So I'm not revealing our headline speaker yet for this year, but it's coming. And if you ever find yourself in Chicago in the second weekend of August, when the Perseid meteor shower is at its height, that's when we are. So that's my story.
Thanks, Deb. And you know, one of the reasons that I wanted to talk with you way too early is that eventually Beyond Being Human's going to have its own conference, and you're the expert conference organizer.
Certainly have 10, almost 11 years under my belt of doing it, yes.
Cool. Well, hopefully not too distant future, we are going to be talking about that. And that's
Awesome.
why we're all kind of doing this to, when I say this, I mean the Patreon launch. So it's the beginning of raising funds kind of thing. Over the last few years, what I've been doing is making this network, making friends, doing research, and then publishing whatever we can. And it's always been the intention to just share everything as much as possible. And then I get bills and more bills, and I got to pay for stuff, and I don't have enough money. So it'd be great if people would either like to make a bit of a donation or become part of the community via Patreon or the website. We've now got so many different presenters, and they're all fantastic people. You've met some of them here, and you're going to meet more and more as time goes on now. I also, at this point, want to mention that we've got a discussion panel coming up, and it's going to be about religion, spirituality, and other dimensions. So, Sheli, funnily enough, what I found was that we had so much in common, and your background was exactly what I was kind of looking for now in this next stage. So I've just moved from Queensland down to Sydney again, where that's my hometown. And once I got here, everything accelerated immensely in all sorts of different ways, meeting a whole pile of new people. The long and the short is, after quite a bit of a discussion now, we're forming a company. Sheli is based in Hong Kong, and I'd like to introduce our pending new CEO. Tell us a bit about your background, Sheli.
Yeah, so I moved to Hong Kong in '96. I set up my first web development company then, and I also started becoming a Reiki master. So that was almost 28 years ago, and have had those divergent paths. From a young age, I could read the Akashic records, but I didn't know that's what it was until I found the right teacher and the right modality or for accessing that without enmeshment. So a few years ago, I've always been a creative director, brand manager for multinationals, but then had the more esoteric thing on the side. I have an MBA, and I've been a regional brand manager for big companies, but also really wondering how I can merge the two, the strategic and the more spiritual. At some point, it doesn't become an option. I just have to do that. And so I started doing business strategy with conscious entrepreneurs based on their Akashic records. So, when someone can steer their own boat, I can't work with the CEO of a big company. It has to be an entrepreneur. We could get their business strategy aligned with who they are at soul level. So that's what I was doing. Then I got approached to be the CEO of a Web3 wellness company. It's called Zenful. The app's in the Android store. And that was mainly to have a platform for healers who'd gone through awakening experiences. Because so many people in modern cultures, when someone has an awakening, it's treated as a psychosis. They're given drugs or put in a psych ward. So we wanted to have like a process for bringing people through an awakening experience, and then a place for them to share their gifts. So that was Zenful. And then because it was a Web3 project, it was riding that wave and it crashed with that wave. So then I went back to coaching. Most of what I do now is helping other light workers to create courses, because I have the digital background, I have the marketing background. It's the way that I can have the biggest impact. Right? Because they're creating courses that didn't transform lives and then transform lives. So it's more of a ripple effect. And then I met Michael and I saw what he was doing, and I thought it's very parallel to what I was doing with Zenful. It was working with the same people, and randomly I will get people that just contact me and do an exorcism on the call, or, hey, can I do a healing for you? Or, someone wants to talk to me about angels or the Palladians or whatever for hours. So I just meet these kind of people naturally. So Michael just kind of fell into that thing. Like he said, it just kind of happened. And so I saw what the project was doing and who it's for, and people in the consciousness space and who they're dealing with. So it just seemed a natural fit. So we'd been talking for a while. And at some point I put my hand up and said, I think this is right to be the CEO and walk into this.
And I'm so glad you did. And you also introduced me to Laurie Renton, who runs a company in Canada called The Visionary Hub. And we're yet to kind of, I guess, onboard or ingest or however.
Laurie was one of those entrepreneurs who was open to, and really open to, working on her business strategy guided by the Akashic records. She works with anagrams designed by Elijah. I can't remember his last name. So that's a whole different area. But Lori's background was in finance. So it just clicked that, because she had a financial company, that she would be a great CFO. So that seemed like a good fit. And she's an amazing woman who's just 100% energy and positivity. And that's what you need for like a startup of this sort of magnitude. You need someone who's very much can do, not can't.
The number of new people have come in the last couple of months, including Tanys and all of that, sort of like the pilots has grown and grown and grown. And the flight crew haven't been doing very much over the last year because I have been going through this massive process of moving from Queensland and literally letting go of nearly all my possessions. I've got myself down to one carload, basically. I'm becoming an intrepid light worker, I think, getting ready to travel to do the documentary, which is the ultimate aim of all of this. But as we keep going now, we're publishing all these videos. And I'd like to now introduce our most prolific video presenter or pilot, and that's Diane Broussard from the Diamond Springs Center.
Really, all I can say is I am overwhelmed with everybody that I'm meeting here because I've really not met any of you before. I live in Northern California, and I have been working with Michael on several different shows. Just introducing myself and what I do is I have a spiritual center here close to Sacramento. I bring in many different people from many different realms. I'm a shamanic practitioner. I'm a Stargate facilitator. I'm a healer, a teacher, all those things that all of you guys are. Like everybody else, it's like I get up every day and there's something you need to do. So this center was something that I created, not really because I knew what I was doing, but because I was guided to do it. It has grown. And I think like many of you understand that people tiptoe into their own soul in different ways. And it's kind of what we do to help enlighten others. So at my center here, not only do I present shamanic drumming, I have a medicine wheel down below and beautiful gardens that people can come to, but I'm also a Stargate facilitator. And probably most of you don't know about the Stargate, but the Stargate is a geometrical structure, much like a pyramid, that is very active right now in over 70 different countries all over the world. It is a consciousness. It is a raising a consciousness. And so when people come to my center here, I am, as a facilitator, activate this Stargate, and it raises the frequency in the room. So each person that is here, just naturally, without doing a thing, just laying here and feeling very comfortable, have their frequency raised to a vibration where they are able to communicate with guides, with their own spiritual guides, with their own selves. And we're all here together. So it's kind of a safe haven. There's my Stargate. It's a safe haven for people to come and really tap into who they are, to their own soul. It's not about anything else but that. And it's really amazing because, like I said, I've done a lot of things. And I'm also a Reiki master and done a lot of things. But the Stargate, you do nothing. The Stargate teachers, you see here, Julianne and Bergh, the Stargate's been around for over 33 years. And the main point is in Mount Shasta, California. And a lot of you might have heard of Mount Shasta, but I am very connected to Telos and the fifth dimensional city below Mount Shasta. So my guides all kind of work in that area. Again, here is the Stargate, and it's very amazing because it is now live streamed through over, again, 70 different countries, and it is a palpable energy that you can feel without doing anything. And that's probably my biggest pull that I do right now. Although I do counseling and I do healing, I have a crystal energy healing bed. So I do a lot of things, but I have to say, the Stargate in itself pulls people into this center. Since I met Michael, I also interview different channelers. And I also bring in these people into my center. So it's not just me, but different people that come as guest speakers to my center here. But the people that I interview, basically, I interview their channels. So in other words, when I talk to, say, for instance, Michelle or other people that I talk to, I get permission to ask questions of their guides. So if she has Isis coming in, I can speak directly to Isis. So I'm not speaking to Michelle and asking Michelle questions. I'm actually speaking to the guides that are coming through her, which is really cool because there's no middle person it's like I'm just asking these guides. So it's kind of something new that I'm doing and I love it. And there's Michelle and she channels Isis. It was amazing because she kind of gets out of the way and I can talk directly to Isis or some of the different people that I interview. You know, that's basically what I do here in California. And I'm so happy to meet all of you because I've seen you coming and going through Beyond Being Human with Michael. And I'm so happy to be a part of all of this because I think it's huge. Every single person here has a certain way of bringing people into their own selves. I mean, let's face it, we're all ETs. We all come from the stars and we're on a planet. So we're no different than anyone else. You know, I mean, what is there to be afraid of? It's who we are. So that's kind of who I am in a nutshell. And I'm very, very happy to meet all of you, every single one of you. I am very blessed to be a part of this group.
Thanks, Diane. It's really been an adventure that we've been on, and I'm really looking forward to doing a lot more. And we've been discussing courses and things, and that's one of Shelley's core points. I just wanted to share this. Shelley hasn't even seen this. I only put it up today. This is part 1 of the bio rollout for everyone that is part of Beyond Being Human. The short bio and a little pic that I'll put up on Instagram. At the moment, putting Shelley in the pilots page, but as you see, we've got a new group coming called Captains, and Shelley and Laurie and a few others, including my co-director and co-producer for the documentary and a few other people, they'll be part of the whole team. And just to mention too, this is the rundown of what's going to be happening on Patreon. Once these turn orange, it means you can click on them. You've seen, actually, I'll just jump to Gateways for a second. This is where you see the shows and keep an eye on what's coming as well. And that reminds me, Diane, we need to have a couple of paragraphs about the next one.
Yes.
And you can access all these for free right now. And we're going to be talking with Lynn Andrews' daughter soon too about doing more stuff with their foundation. And let me just jump back again. So Tanys will be doing explorations, and in a minute I'll have her talk about that. And Simon's doing Into the Vortex, and Carolina Grace couldn't be here, but that reminds me, she recently did a testimonial, which I really, really loved. It came from a different point of view altogether, as well as Freya, who did a testimonial. And I was really surprised in the way they saw the whole project and like much, much even wider perspective than I had. And Marty, you've met. And I'm going to do a thing called Backstage at Beyond. We're going to talk about all sorts of different things, including the filmmaking aspect of getting ready to go on the documentary path. So there is a lot to look forward to even in the next few months and ongoing into the next year. And people who become a Patreon member now will get access to all of the stuff that's on the website as a member. And there's sometimes I put like the 30 minutes of an opening of an interview of a 2-hour program. The members get to see the whole 2-hour kind of thing. And we're going to do that a bit more often now. If it was totally up to me, I'd like to give everything away, but we're living in the material world, to quote George Harrison. Thank you, Diane. And it's been an absolute pleasure working with you. And any last words before we move along?
I can only say the same thing, Michael. You have opened my eyes. You're a fantastic producer. You've taught me so much about lighting and sitting and backgrounds and speaking, and you've helped me with all of my interviews, getting us lined up. So thank you for all the work that you've done putting this show together. Really, it's amazing and really important.
Thank you. I can't do it without you because I don't really particularly want to be a presenter doing all these sorts of things. I'm just happy being in the backstage. I've always worked backstage, 10 years in theatre and 10 years in filmmaking and multimedia and all that sort of thing, and very rarely kind of creep out behind the curtain. But everyone keeps saying, you've got to get out there. So here I am, folks. Let me introduce Susan.
First of all, I'd like to acknowledge the land that I'm on, and I am here on the edge of the Coast Salish people, the Lummi Reservation. I have 3 names. My Hebrew name from my mother's side is Sarah. My American name is Susan. And my Tlingit name is Chassé, which means eagle daughter. My Tlingit name was given to me by my adopted father, Jim Walton, who was from Sitka, Alaska. His name was Klaak, and he was Kagwantan Wolf of the eagle moiety. And I'm really blessed to be here today. I want to say, Michael, and to all of you, wow, good on you all for living your vision and for listening and being present in your own realities and bringing those realities forward into this world and making it better. I'm really awed. I don't know much about almost anything that most of you are talking about. My background is as a writer and as a filmmaker. I received a teaching from my Tlingit father, and he used to say, there won't be peace on earth until the voices of the grandmothers are heard.
Yeah.
And after he passed, I wanted to know, what is this? What does this mean? So I, like Michael, I know his vision that he received from the angels. I had planted in my heart that I wanted to know more about that teaching. And I gave up my corporate job and my government job and all of that stuff left behind, got on the Alaska Marine Highway, the ferry, and traveled from Siberia to Patagonia, interviewing women and grandmothers about that teaching. And I found out that in almost every culture, everywhere around the world, there is the teaching about the importance of the grandmothers and their voices and the women and their voices. I was so blessed. I interviewed people from every culture, and I wrote the book, Women's Voices, The Wisdom of the Grandmothers, and did a documentary film when I didn't know how to turn on a camera. I'm always embarrassed. My film made it to public broadcasting across the United States. I think something like 65 million views or something like that. And honestly, we didn't know how to turn on a camera when we started. But it also took me to Australia And I was blessed to meet Michael and really am in awe of your vision. And I know your documentary will be completed and will be absolutely amazing. I'm currently working on a documentary called Indigenous Prophecy Today. And I interviewed elders around the world about their prophecies and their stories and what those mean for today. And one thing that I relate to in everything that you all said is that those prophecies are being fulfilled right now. And we are the fulfillment of those prophecies. And my passion is bringing the strands of the past, which I always say are the warp threads in a weaving. What are the things from the past that need to be brought forward? What are the things from every culture that need to be learned? And then the weft threads, the pattern that is developed, that's what we're all weaving. We're creating something new and a beautiful design, and you're all part of that. I just finished a book. I'll make a pitch for it. I'm always embarrassed to do this, but it's called Flying with Wings, a true story of an Alaska aircraft accident. And I started this book in earnest in 2014, but it's about a 1994 aircraft accident that happened in my home in Juneau, Alaska. But it's way more than that. It's also about the journey that the people went on afterward to find healing and to find forgiveness and to find the spirit behind the tragedy. It just came out last week, and I'm proud of the book because I hope that it will help people know that they can get beyond the difficulties in this time that we're living in and come out on the other side, which is the prophecy. I know in my heart, if I know anything, that we will move beyond these difficult times and we will come out into a new world that's been promised us all. And I don't know all of the ways that we'll get there, but the destruction that we're seeing around us and the breaking down of systems and things that we've all been taught to believe in is part of that. Because when those things break down, we have the ability to emerge and build something new. So, Michael, I'm so proud of you and all the people that are there to support you. I don't want to sound patronizing in that, but I'm really proud of you because you are living your vision, and I know how hard that is. I live in a one-room cabin. I know what it means to give up the things that the world told us are important. And I know that in doing all that, what we gain is so much more. So, Gunashish, I'm honored to be with you, and thank you for letting me be a part of it.
Well, it's my pleasure, Susan, and it's been great to get to know you over the last year or so. And Megan, would you like to come and just quickly talk about the trip that you took with Susan to Uluru, Ayers Rock in Australia?
Yeah, so I was Michael's neighbor at Crystal Waters, the eco village in Australia. And I wrote a children's book, Moon Dream. A friend was helping me do the editing on it, and her computer broke. So she went, I'll ask my neighbor Michael if he'll help and we can use his computer. And then he saw what it was about there's little moon creatures and the little girl astral traveling to the moon. So he went, yeah, you fit right in with this project. So through that, he introduced me to Susan, and we got to travel across the country and went to Uluru and met a lot of the elders and just had this whole trip that I was, working and didn't have the time or the money or shouldn't have really been able to happen, but it happened. And yeah, now me and Susan, I love you so much, Susan. I've slept on the floor of her little cabin, and we've just become really, really close. And she's helped me with my book, and I'm writing another book about fairies. All of you guys have so much experience with all these different things, all the things that you do. And I would always tell Michael, well, where do I fit in with all of this? And I just wrote a children's book. And he said, oh, no, you wrote a children's book about a little girl astral traveling. So you do fit in. So my kind of hope with this book is if there's kids like I know you, Marty, talked about having these experiences from a really young age and not really knowing what to do about it. And hopefully this can be a way. So if kids go up, have something happen to them and they're not quite sure what it means, or if it was real, or if it was their imagination, and they go and tell their parents, and their parents don't know how to react to that. So to start from when kids are young and let them know that they're not alone in this, and they do have people that have had similar experiences, and for the parents too, to be able to talk to people like you and know what their kids are talking about. Michael and I have talked about working on publishing with Beyond Being Human and getting more books out there. And I'm working right now in the middle of Nevada, and I'm really close to Area 51. I'm 3 hours away from any city or anything. And even the people here that I'm working with, I was telling them today about you guys in this Zoom meeting, and they were going, oh, that's weird that you're talking about aliens and UFOs and all this stuff. So people who are close to where all of these experiences happen still don't really have the resources to find out about it. And Michael, it's been a long road. And
I was going to ask, do you want to have a bit of a chat about the actual journey to Uluru and what you accomplished there and what you saw and things like that? And I have to mention that the opening of the documentary, what I'm planning is to include the Indigenous wisdom and have a number of different instances of that in the Hopi Indians and Australian Aborigines and various others. So, yeah, Susan, do you want to have a quick chat about that?
If you go to almost any ancient site and you see some of the drawings that are some of the petroglyphs, there's some in, I visited some in Utah and around the world. I've had experiences to see, and in Australia, the oldest wall, petroglyph wall we went to visit. And that there's been contact. You see the symbols that are from Siberia to Patagonia. You see the symbols on these walls. And it is just such an amazing experience to realize that our ancestors and our original people knew so much and still know so much more. And they've rejected many of the things of the modern world by choice. The Hopi people have third mesa, third mesa, second mesa, and first mesa. And I had an opportunity to go to Prophecy Rock with grandmother Persily Ami, and I hope Michael will get a chance to meet her. And you see this hundreds of year-old drawing on a rock that talks about the time that we're living in now and the split and the choices that people will have to make to live a spiritual path. And it's really humbling to me. Uluru was a wonderful experience. Australia was an incredible experience. There's so many ancient sites there, so much knowledge. And I think that in reaching for our star ancestors, we're also reaching back to the knowledge that they gave every culture around the world for millennia. And it's still here for us. So it was a great experience to be able to be there. And I'm so grateful to Michael for introducing Megan. And I'm going to make a pitch for you, Michael. Michael, I don't have a lot of money, but I've always tried to give little bits that I do have to support Michael's work. And I know how hard it is in these times to do what Michael does and give it away and be so generous of heart and generous of spirit. So I'm glad that you're finally out there and you're letting people know what you need, because the work that you're doing is really important, as is all of yours. I recognize some of you, Stone. I met you on Peace Week, and I believe Cate, you were on Peace Week, and I recognize some of your faces, and it's just such an honor to sit in circle with you. I'll add that I'm part of a international grandmother circle. We meet for 2 hours once a week. And we talk about what is it that we can bring forward from the past and what is it that are about our voices that need to be heard. This is not Indigenous, but I'll tell it. One of the grandmothers said this week that she had the solution to the problem in the Middle East. And we all kind of leaned forward and we were listening really carefully to our Zoom. And we were like, well, grandmother, what is the solution? And she said, all those guys need to get put in a timeout. And we need to put them all in their own little corner and tell them, just take a time out and take a breath. So anyway, we all got a good laugh out of it, but I think there's some truth in it. So anyway, thank you for letting me be here and being in circle with all of you. Guneshish.
Thank you. And speaking of being in circle, I've been on Susan's circle for Baha'i people, and we showed the Peace Angels movie, and which I might show at the end, and just a little bit of that. And thanks, Susan. Thanks, Megan. What an adventure we're all having. It's really great fun. I would like to hop over now to Lynda.
Hello, everyone.
I stumbled across a podcast, one of many, many, many. A guy called Cate was working with Lynda, doing all these sorts of interviews, and it had a unique kind of feel. And do you want to just update us what's happening with the podcast,
Sure.
Cate, and tell us about yourself as well?
Absolutely. So the podcast was called, is called Third Eye Salon, 3RD Eye Salon. A couple years ago, Cate and I decided we wanted to create a safe environment for newbies that were just being exposed to their talents in the world, and we're curious, but we're also we wanted to have something where others could be of support. So we have a Third Eye Salon Facebook group, and just so that we had that structure for people that we didn't have when we were evolving and growing in the beginning. We explained it like having a teeter-totter where we could all get on board this teeter-totter that would help us move up and in our frequencies and bounce ideas off of each other. So we have done that for a couple years. Cate's taken a turn to move on in a different direction. And I had transitions in my life. I decided to go ahead and go pause for a while and look inside and reach out and see what I wanted to do, because I wasn't sure what direction I wanted to take everything. I kept hearing, wait for it. You're going to know, wait for it, go inside, take the time. And I started doing classes locally here in Oregon for remote viewing, just for fun, just for play, teaching people how to remote view, teaching people how to tap into their psychic abilities, and just creating a safe place for people to play and not have it be so scary. And I've had a lot of requests to take that online. And so that is something that I have felt really strongly to do. My background is corporate. I grew up going to the Indian reservations almost my whole teenage years and beyond. So I have a huge affinity and connection with Native Americans, and bring some of that energy in as well to what I do. My corporate background combined with being born, remembering how I was murdered, having near-death experiences, and seeing two FUOs up close makes me kind of an all-around experiencer. But it makes me also able to talk business and woo-woo, and be able to work with people in areas that are not comfortable. So I'm also a practitioner of nonviolent communication. and pull that into people, working with people along with my abilities in coaching and helping them take what is in the ether, in the ethereal. That's what some of the terms I use, and pulling that knowledge, that consciousness into their own lives. Being able to access that thing that's always there, that they just don't really know how to do, but they really do, but they just don't recognize it. And making that comfortable for people. And so for me, that's kind of the areas I think I'll be bringing in, is making it in that transition phase between very practical, left-brained, what the heck just happened in my life that blew up? Or I'm curious, but I don't know. And being able to take people on that journey and at the same time help them figure out how they want to show up in their lives. Now, how do they want to pull that into their everyday life, whether it's their work or whether it's just an exploration out of curiosity? Because I believe that that's how we become a kinder, more loving, happier society, is when we can fulfill who we truly are. So that is what I'm doing, and I will be starting to do interviews again on Third Eye Salon, hopefully a similar format. And I'm very excited about what the new year brings.
Thanks, Lynda. Yeah, wishing Cate all the best as
Me
well
too.
in new directions. And it's really quite amazing that over the last few years, I guess it's been slowly coming, like this incredible wave of everyone talking with everyone. And like the YouTube channels are just voluminous, and to get noticed is a hard job, and being part of Beyond Being Human brings a bit of a collective focus together, and we can all work together and help each other. And so I like doing a lot of cross publicity of different people, and that's what I ask when people join us in the flight crew or whatever, like just help publicize what we're doing, and I'll publicize you as well, and it all helps. So,
Michael, could I also just do a plug? I will be signing. I've not signed up. I will be signing up. I encourage others to, because you have, just looking at the site, you've put a lot of effort in this. And I really appreciate that you're creating this collective community for all of us to expand and share and grow.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Well, when I first had my angelic encounter, I didn't know what was going on with all of this. And I went on a big brain stretch going through all these YouTube channels and people talking about all sorts of things, ETs, like, and how many races of ETs and whatever. I didn't know who to trust or who I could really take seriously, because some of it just seemed so off the wall, like just really out there. And now it's like, well, okay, it's all true. So what I'm trying to do with the website is, it's sort of a vetting process in a way. Not that I'm a judge and jury of anybody, but it's like the people who come into my sphere end up kind of having a platform of their own through Beyond Being Human as well. I just enjoy this work, being a digital media producer, and I'm very, very happy to be of service to humanity in this kind of way. It just reminded me, I'd like to show this little video, if I may.
My name is Carolina Grace, and with my disruptive tribe of canines, I would like to acknowledge you taking the time to explore Beyond Being Human, which is the inspired creation of Michael Ney, who has spent tireless years bringing this project to fruition as a gift to humanity. Beyond Being Human for me represents the next evolutionary step forward for humanity as a species when we recognize we are moving from our old carbon-based physical third dimensional form into our more enlightened crystalline light bodies, more aligned with the higher frequencies from the fifth dimensional perspective. I feel so truly honored and privileged to participate in this venture. It is such a gift to humanity. And I would like to say to you that wherever you are at on your path right now, whether you know what that is or whether you don't, here you will find the most inspired and inspiring group of individuals as a community, willing and ready and dedicated to sharing their gifts, their knowledge, their experience with you to meet you exactly where you're at on your path right now and help you determine what are the next steps forward for you as a multidimensional being. So I encourage you, take some time to explore the site, and we'll wave goodbye to Hector now as he's summarily ejected. Take the time to explore the sites and the community, engage with them. This is your opportunity to amplify, to become more of who you are becoming as a multidimensional being. And this is an immense opportunity for you to do so in a safe community. So it is important that we as individuals not just explore the evolution of our own gifts and our own capabilities, but that we maintain open minds and an open heart and come together in heart-led collaboration to see what else is possible for the future of humanity when we raise our consciousness as a combined, inspired, higher consciousness collective. So I want to welcome you. I want to honor you as an awakened being for being here, for being willing to explore. And I say to you here, you are so needed. And I really invite you to join us in this Beyond Being Human multidimensional group with so much love and gratitude.
Carolina's profile page on Beyond Being Human, and you can read all about her. And Heart-Led Humanity is her organization name, bringing together the inspired and inspired heart-led innovators, way showers, and role models across all areas of society in conversations to inspire and demonstrate to each of us who care what else is possible for humanity's future of planet Earth when we live from our hearts. And very importantly, conversations placed within a greater cosmological context, outlining humanity's important role with the evolution of our universe as restored, heart-led contributors to a pure, organic future for humanity. And you can read all about her and you can see that video there. And we've been talking every week, in fact, sometimes even twice a week. And these new people, it's just really quite incredible. One last thing before we move on to something else too, just to mention the flight crew, which Zen that you met earlier was one of the original people, because I'd known him previously and we've been doing various things mostly in discussion panels and beyond Christmas shows as well. So the Connect tab is where all of the people are showing up. But there's all of these other people here who are really quite amazing in their own right, doing all sorts of really incredible work. You know, I could spend hours just talking about all of what they're doing. Sylvain and Cate, maybe I'll bring you back in. Just last one, Viola Rose and Greg Sullivan. He's in Japan. And Karen, you met earlier. And there's so much more. Please come and explore. If you go to beyondbeinghuman.org/news, this is where the newsletters are indexed, and there's going to be more blogs coming up as well. But just under that is where all of the options of being a member are. And I'll tell you, the best value in the future and ongoing is going to be this one, as a monthly kind of contribution where you get everything from Patreon as well as our website. Other than that, being a yearly member, you'll get a lot of what's available on Patreon too. And anybody who feels like they'd like to participate as a sponsor, that's one option. But what we usually do is have a bit of a chat and people can define the kind of campaign that they would like to do. Time's running on. Wow. Cate, would you like to come have a bit of a chat?
So I'm a lifetime experiencer. My first experience, or what I would call an encounter, was at 6 years old, and I didn't understand the encounter, so thought I was speaking to God. But God spoke back, if that's who it was, which now I don't know. It launched my lifetime of I guess maybe the paranormal. I've also an experiencer of the UFO phenomena. So I've encountered a light being in my house. I've seen many different craft up close. Recently, I've been going through an awakening. I've pretty much spent most of my life on my own, study and so on, and sort of being guided by the person that I encountered as a child, and that person, entity or whatever, fell away and is more in the background. And recently I've been having an awakening, and I went through a shamanic journey on my own from a situation that happened to me at Contact in the Desert. That was, it's a long story, so I won't go into it, but that sort of launched this awakening. And last night I had the most profound dream. I saw myself in a mirror in this place where I've never been before. It was just the most beautiful place, beautifully lit. And I walked into the bathroom and saw the image in the mirror of me, but it did not look like me at all. Not the body that I'm seeing. I mean, I've never seen anything like this, what I saw. So I'm a little kind of blown away by it. And I've been asking to know, to have some sort of something come back and help me understand who I am, why I'm here, and so on. And so this image really blew me away. I mean, I can't even describe it, what I look like. I'm in the phase where I'm going to be probably wanting help with this. I'm not a practitioner. I'm sort of living it. And so I'm the consumer, I guess. So that's my story. I live in Toronto, and I work with Michael. I help curate his Twitter feed and the Contact in the Desert Twitter feed. Just been doing my own study. I enjoy meditation, but nothing has been formalized. As far as any sort of psychic abilities or anything, my modality tends to be in dreams. And I know I've traveled to a lot of different places in my dreams, and I do believe that there are remote viewers that actually piggyback on my consciousness, because I seem to be able to maybe amplify or take them places they can't go to. And I've actually spoken to a particular remote viewer who verified that this is actually something they do. That's maybe the only psychic thing I do. But yeah, that's my story.
Thanks, Cate. Yeah. And we didn't mention where we met. Cate came along at the Making Contacts campus and showed me around, and we got to know each other through that. And here we are again in Sunken Blimp now.
Yeah. So I worked with, again, the same people that are working on Contact in the Desert now. Previous to that, they were working on a platform that eventually Mark Sims purchased, and I was basically helping out. I started out just as a greeter, but then became more proficient with the platform and helped with that. I'm a great lover of virtual worlds. I love Second Life, and now I love this Verbella, and this new platform is great too.
Wow. So I now would love to present one of our other pilots / flight crew, Cat Divine.
Hi, everyone. It's been so nice listening to you and getting to know each one of you. I could just say so much to everybody that I've heard and listened to, and I can connect to everything and add on to where you are even in your life, because I know I was listening to, I think it was Susan, but where this shift happened, and you could feel the shift, and the other lady, oh my goodness, there's so many already on here, but where there was a pause, and she was talking about a pause. And anyway, I'm Cat Divine. I just want to just briefly say hello. I've been, connected to psychic, mediumship, loved ones in spirit, you name it, connection. That's all I can say. Soul to soul connection. There's too many things to go on about it, and I won't take up all of your time. But it's been my pleasure working with Michael. I met him now. I think it's been a good year and a half, at least, maybe. And the connection that we had was immediate. And what he's doing here, I think we're all here on this platform because we feel this high vibe, this knowingness that's within us to put out more in the world, to help others, and to really show them the way that there is the light, right? And that the heart really is about what connects them. That's really where I come from, is talking about the heart space a lot. When my guides work with me, that was one of the main, that was it. I mean, we use our thinking mind too much. And I think that's really what the 3D reality really is about, is always in the mind space. And when you're in there and thinking and thinking and thinking, you're disconnected to what else is out there, because everything that's out there is within your heart and within the soul, or the soul connection. And so for me, it was this big, huge shift that just happened, I think back in March with me, Michael. It was a pause from the universe that kind of, I don't know if it was a pause. Well, I can call it a pause, but it wasn't just a pause. It was a breaking of the old paradigm. That's really what's happened here. Because I've been, it was so amazing how everything sort of kind of crumbled down around me, and you think it's devastation, but really it is that whole shift to releasing and letting go of the old, right? And reawakening, really what it is, becoming more aware. And so everything for me has been put on, I'll say pause, even though it's not a pause, until I think 2024, and really going back into expanding even more so and seeing from another perspective, a bigger perspective. And sometimes the life just happens where you think, oh my God, what just happened? But it is a really good thing. So when that happens, give gratitude. That's what I'm going to say. Give gratitude for it. Because when you give gratitude for it, you realize, wait a second, there is something here for me to listen to realize, to reawaken, to let go of all that stuff. And it can be conscious or subconscious, or you may not even realize what it is, and you don't have to. You can just let it all go and give gratitude and be in the moment. Because remember, there is no past and there is no future. It's all happening now. And so what you're attracting to you, right? And what we want to let go and pull toward us is being in that now moment. So for me, that's what's happened. So you may not have seen me on platforms recently. I kind of put everything, my events, but I was doing a lot of events, doing a lot of workshops and mediumship connections, and do a lot of trance channeling with my guides, and do a lot of intuitive healing work. You guys can find me on catedivine.com. So again, we're all connected here. And, Cate, when you're saying that, oh, you don't do this and you're just doing a little bit here, it's like, no, you're here on divine timing. Everyone here is divine timing, and we all at our own timing. So I feel like everybody that I've seen and met on here tonight on this platform is amazing, and they're all perfect to be here at this perfect time. And look out for 2024 for some new shifts, because I had started with the Align Divine, the show with Michael, and we're doing some wonderful interviews, and we'll see what's going to come from that, and maybe another whole revamp. Who knows? And I'm going to put it out to the universe that what is right is right. So thank you so much, Michael.
Well, thank you. And you've added an extra dimension to my connection with the divine. And a couple of times we've talked about how when you tune in and do some channeling and whatever, that you see a lineup of angels behind me. And it's like, okay, that's no pressure.
Oh, they are with you. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, look, does anyone have any last words? Because I think it's probably time to wrap up. We could do a whole range of different things. I'm just thinking maybe, Simon, would you like to do, is it possible even to do a 3-minute kind of thing?
Okay. There are many beautiful divine healing essences in which I channel. And Merlin wishes to send you the divine essence of love, and just send it to wherever you need it. Like I said, vortex healing and what I channel is powerful both in person and at a distance. On my level of certification, there really is no difference. So that's a very beautiful way to end. Just a very beautiful, lovely essence of divine love, to remember why we are doing this for, to remember that it's not just a feeling, that it's also a creative force bringing us all together. So, Michael, maybe if you just like time for 3 minutes, and I will channel the divine healing essence of love to everyone here, and maybe I'll send something. I will send something, and maybe Merlin will have a message for everyone as I am doing it. Does everyone take a deep breath and relax, and just take in this lovely divine essence of love, and it will go to wherever you need it. Okay, this is beautiful. What I'm sensing is, in the beginning, it just sort of released a beautiful, it released a level of tension and limitation, and then it just rose everyone's vibration. And now I'm sensing this cosmic connection in which we're all part of. It's just this lovely divine essence of love is now bringing us deeper, more poignantly in this beautiful cosmic connection in which we're all connected to here. It's very beautiful it's very beautiful to sense. It's, like I said, it's cosmic. It shows a reaching out into the cosmos, to different dimensions, different beings. Has a beautiful cosmic mystery to it. It's very beautiful.
Thank you so much, Simon. That was really very nice. A 3-minute pause of silence and energy, and lovely. And no one else has got anything to say. Maybe raise your hands if you do. One last, Tanys, yes.
I just want to say thank you to Michael for putting all of this together. It's a beautiful purpose that we're all filling. And I'm super excited to start doing explorations. I do energy healing, Celtic Shamanic High Priestess, and Galactic Ambassador with the Alliance for Extraterrestrial Diplomatic Contact. So I'm just super excited to be, and honored really, to be part of such a great group. So thank you, Michael, for bringing everyone together.
Thank you we've done quite a lot in the last few weeks together, and you've been an absolutely fantastic help, and being on screen at the same time. So let me show the page. You can see Tanys in action along with Simon and along with Freya, and I'm sort of in and out of there every now and then. beyondbeinghuman.org/HarmonyFest23. That's all one word, HarmonyFest23. And you can see these videos. They're all open for everyone. And it really brings me great joy to see how much is coming forward with all of this. And building this community is a joy as well. If I may, I'm just going to jump straight over to this.
Yes, they look beautiful, and yes, they're lit, and yes, they're peaceful, but when you stand next to them, you may be changed.
We wanted that first glimpse of all the angels coming together to really show the reverence, and the reverence that we were bringing, not just to the memorial, but also to who it is that we are and what it is that we represent.
Welcome everybody to Peace Angels Walking Light.
The process that we've actually gone through from the meditation point of view, it's about learning to release all the blocks that you have to love and all the blocks that you have to peace.
Time to celebrate.
You'll be hearing more about that too. I'm going to invite Antoinette Sampson back for another conversation. We've done that in the past. So this is it, folks. Any last words? Anyone?
I was going to say, I watched that documentary on the Peace Angels, and it was incredible. It was really moving. I really strongly suggest people watch it.
Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, it was such a great experience. And I watch it quite often, a couple of times a year at least. And it still brings me to tears at the end. Yeah, it's just amazing. And that also was 2011, which was, what was that, like 6 years before I had my personal angelic encounter. It's like, okay, there's something going on here. Anyway, look, thank you all so very much for being here. And it's all just coming together now, rising, and as the energy's rising, we're coming together with a aligned purpose, and aligned with divine is even here. Thanks, Cate. Anyway, thank you all, and I'm going to see you all again very soon. Thanks again.